I'm Charlie Brackett, the Whitewater Wizard. I've been canoe racing for 33 years. I've won 36 national titles in Whitewater Open Canoe. I've been in Sports Illustrated, Paddler, and Canoe and Kayak magazine. I've paddled in Whitewater in Colorado, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, New Hampshire, just to name a few. This is a basic introduction of downriver canoe and kayak racing. How do you get into it? You can go into paddling clubs. I'm the president of the Birch Hill Canoe Club. We put on 2 to 3 races a year. Also, you can go to necra.org. It's New England Canoe and Kayak Racing Association. They put on a lot of races a year. There's a downriver series, a flatwater series. There's many different ways to get into it. To get into downriver, you must have some moving water experience. If you do not have moving water experience, then you need to get instruction from a certified instructor. There's many different ways of doing it. You can just Google it, and plenty of outfitters all around, paddling companies. Once you're ready to go, you always scout the rapids that you are going to paddle. There's different ways of doing it. You have to know where you're coming out so you can paddle. You can scout it from the bottom to the top. When talking about the river, even if you're looking from the bottom to the top, river right is always as if you were coming down the river. River right would be on your left now, and the opposite. Coming down the river, what's on your right is on your right, and which is on your left is on your left. When you get in the kayak or your canoe, you must have your weight low and centered. Paddling proper technique is always good. You always want to bring a spare paddle. I use a bent shaft carbon fiber paddle. They go for about $300 a piece. First, you should tie everything in your boat. In case you capsize, you want nothing to float away. You put airbags in, which is like a big balloon that goes up inside of the canoe and displaces the water, and it keeps it afloat. Throw bags is this here. You take it, you throw the whole bag. It's a safety line that you can throw to someone to save them. You throw the whole bag, you hold on to the loop, the end of the rope. You can do it from your boat or you can do it from shore. If you do capsize, you do not stand up in swift moving current much higher than your knees. The first thing you do, you'll get a foot entrapment and you would break your leg and then drown. Not a good day. You point your toes downstream. You make sure your craft is downstream from you. A 16-foot canoe full of water against a rock is about a ton of pressure, so you don't want to be in between the canoe and a rock. You don't swim against the current. You swim diagonally towards shore. Self-rescue is the only way to go if there's no one else there. Watch out for downed trees. They're called strainers, where you're the spaghetti. If you are going towards a strainer, you climb it fast like a ladder. Take safety seriously. I'm going to tell you about the near-death experience I had on the Nantahala River in the Smoky Mountains in North Carolina. A while back in the Whitewater Nationals, I was having a great race. I had won the year before. I looked at a coming rock and I watched at the water coming off of the rock, which is the fastest water on the river. I looked downstream for a second and got too close to the rock. Thought I could go around it, but it was no way. I hit the rock. I capsized. You think that you would stay afloat with a life jacket on, but I got flushed right under the rock. Now the next thing I know, I'm looking at the rock in my face. I'm under the rock. The rock is all smooth. I could not grab onto it. My right hand found my canoe. My canoe saved my life because I was trying from getting out of there, kept hitting the airbag. So then I thought, wow. After several tries, I'm holding on, taking a breather while taking a break, and I just thought one last chance. I had water hitting at the back of my head. I turned to the right and moved to the left. Water went up my nose, and I popped up, saw daylight and blue sky. What a great feeling. So never, ever underestimate the power of moving water. Do not take the river for granted. Anything can happen. Downriver whitewater racing is living in a fast lane. You don't have to race to enjoy river running either. When you're not racing, you can stop for lunch, you can enjoy the scenery, go for a swim, just enjoy the day, smell the roses. If interested in racing, there are many novice races and classes to get started in. Great way to get free instruction because there's a lot of camaraderie in canoe and kayak racing. You get out of paddling whatever you put into it. You can watch films, you can get instruction, or just paddling, or you can read books. A trail across the water leaves no trace. I've been putting on canoe races since 1991. I've put on flatwater races. I've also put on the Whitewater Nationals 3 times on the Deerfield River. I'm hoping this year to maybe put a bid in for the Whitewater Nationals on the Deerfield again. After Hurricane Irene, it changed significantly. The course of the river had changed forever. So if you want to get into paddling, whether it's flat water, whether it's whitewater, whatever course you want to take, you just need to get a canoe or a kayak, and now there's stand-up paddle boards, which are really, really popular. You need to have a life jacket, an over-the-shoulder life jacket, extra thick for whitewater to stay extra buoyant. We have several different helmets. Hard shell helmet must cover the ears, the temple must be covered. Also is one that's solid. This is a Kevlar one. It's solid, it's good for winter time. We also have a bailing scoop. If you get water in the boat, you need to bail the water out of the boat by hand. In downriver racing, they do not allow any automatic bailers. Many different ways of paddling. A lot of people like to use the bent shaft paddle when racing. It's a lot easier than a straight shaft paddle. In bigger whitewater, a lot of times people prefer to use the straight shaft paddle. Favorite areas around here to paddle for me would be the Deerfield River. There's Otter Brook in Keene, New Hampshire. The Deerfield River's in Mass. Up in Maine, there's the Dead River, which is one of my favorites. Massachusetts is also the Quinnebog and the Quabog. Once again, just Google anything to do with paddling and you'll find stuff. And once again, NECRA.org, New England Canoe and Kayak Racing Association. They have a race list. There's a few more races coming up this year. There's also, you want to make sure that you get the proper gear in order to paddle. Whether you're doing white water or flat water, you have to think about cold water gear. A lot of polypropylene and wetsuits and dry suits. Gloves, neoprene gloves for your hands, neoprene booties for your feet. Once again, on your when you're paddling, you don't ever stand up in water, fast-moving water above your knees because could be a bad day. Also, you want to make sure you hold on to your paddle if you capsize. You want to hold on to your boat if you can. You have either a grab loop or a line on the end to rope that you can grab onto it and save your boat. Always save yourself first and the boat comes second. Also, you want to make sure every time you go out paddling, one of the most important things you want to do is check out the weather. You need to know what kind of weather you're going to have for the day. If you are going to have thunderstorms, you don't want to be out on the water when there's thunderstorms, or if it's going to get real cold towards the end of the day, you want to have appropriate gear. Any rain, there's lots of different types of raincoats and rain gears, dry suits, paddling jackets. Once again, you can call any canoe outfitter to get any gear. There's several, just Google them. There's outfitters in Mass, New Hampshire, Maine, all around here, Vermont. I live in New Hampshire, so I know a lot about the area. Once I get out places, I have to look up things myself. Another thing you want on the river, you just want to have river etiquette. You don't want to, please take your trash with you. Don't leave anything behind. Um, just don't, just leave it the way it is. Don't break shrubbery. Don't break the trees. Respect nature. And, there's also about different rivers, there's also water lines and stuff, information lines that you can go. And also on the Army Corps, you can go on their website in order to get river levels, in order to see, what kind of, river level there is. Don't want it too high, it becomes dangerous, and too low, you're just going to break your boat. There's several planned releases over the years. Over the year, I know there's one in Jamaica State Park in Vermont on the West River. The Dead River has them. The Deerfield River in Massachusetts has them almost every weekend all summer. There's several races. There's several, lots of different releases. And if you go on the Deerfield River, you want to watch out. In the summertime, it becomes a lot of tubers. So you just want to, if you're gonna don't mind a lot of tubers be on the river with you, then it's a great time. You want to watch out for, you don't want to mix alcohol with paddling. You just save your drinks for after the race or after the run on the river. Safety is always number one. You want to, all children should be. The 10 years old is about the right age where kids can start doing whitewater and self-rescue themselves. It's a basic age that people count on. Always, of course, wearing life jackets and your helmets. Once again, I said I was been running races for since 1991. It's a good way to get into the sport and watch people. And there's always different types of people with the way they paddle. There's experts and there's beginners, and it's one of the best sports to where the people who are experienced will really help out the beginners. So I think that's enough for instruction for today. And anyone has any information they want on Whitewater Open Canoe, they can email me at whitewaterwizard3@gmail.com.